Good evening, everyone. I'll call the City Council to order at 8 o'clock on Monday evening, January 6, 2025. This meeting is being recorded. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. There are 10 items on this evening's agenda, and I will ask the city clerk to please read agenda item number 1.
Organization of the City Council for 2025.
Okay, councilors, so each year we're required to elect a president and vice president per section 59 of the city charter. So we start by first electing a city council president pro tem. So I will now say that nominations are now in order for City Council Pro Tem. Councilor Pacillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I nominate Councilor Navin to serve as President Pro Tem of the Marlborough City Council for the year 2025.
The name of Councilor, are there any other nominations for City Council President Pro Tem? Hearing none, the name of Councilor Navin has been presented for nomination as President Pro Tem of the City Council by Councilor Facillo. Since there are no other further nominations, I'll ask the clerk to please read the roll, and I'll remind councilors that the vote is the councilor's name.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Preciado.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Vital.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Purchillo.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Landers is absent. Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Brown.
Councilor Navin.
And Councilor Oram.
Let's see. Councilor Navin.
10 for Councilor Navin and 1 absence.
Councilor Navin has received 10 votes and is elected as President Pro Tem of the City Council for 2025. Congratulations, Councilor. Yeah, we can give.
Nominations are now in order for the election of the City Council President for 2025. Councilor Facillo.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem. I move to nominate Councilor Ossing as President of the City Council for the year 2025.
The name of Councilor Ossing has been presented for nomination as President of the City Council by Councilor Facillo. Are there any further nominations for President of the City Council? Hearing no further nominations, I declare the nominations closed. The clerk will now call the roll for the election of the City Council President.
Councilor Landers is absent. Councilor Fucillo.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Brown.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Vital.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Ossing.
And Councilor Preciado.
Councilor Ossing.
10 votes for Councilor Ossing, 1 absence.
Councilor Ossing has received 10 votes and is elected as President of the City Council for 2025.
You're welcome, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Damn it,
Okay, nominations are now in order for the election of the City Council Vice President for the year 2025. Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I nominate Councilor Roby for Vice President.
The name of Councilor Roby is presented for nomination as Vice President for the City Council by Councilor Navin. Are there any other nominations for Vice President? Hearing no further nominations, I declare the nominations closed. The City Clerk will now call the roll for the election of the City Council Vice President.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Preciado.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Landers is absent. Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Roby.
Counselor Vital.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Fucillo.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Brown.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Roby.
10 for Counselor Roby, 1 absent, sir.
Counselor Roby has received 10 votes and is declared the Vice President of the City Council for 2025. Congratulations. Just a couple of housekeeping. Thank you, Councilor Navin, for serving as pro tem, and thank you for Councilor Ficello for the nominations. And I'd like to actually thank the councilors. I appreciate all the support. I'm honored and humbled by the support. I continue to put all my energy, effort, enthusiasm into running the City Council as we look to move Marlborough forward. It will exceed expectations, and I still think it's the best place to live, work, and play. From a housekeeping standpoint, I need a motion to adopt the City Council rules approved in 2024 to carry over to 2025. Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Council President, and congratulations on being reelected. I move that we use 2024 rules through 2025 until they can be reviewed and any changes made.
Motion's been made and seconded to carry over our 2024 rules to 2025. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The rules are carried over 10-0. Our next meeting will be January 27th. I will issue the meeting schedule along with committee assignments. If there's anything that you'd like to see changed or want to adjust, please let me know. Just to whet your appetite for looking ahead for 2025, we've got the open space plan we'd like to see come before us, the Richer School Bond for $100 million, West Side Fire Station around $18 million, contract funding for all 7 city unions, the salary study for all non-union positions, accessory dwelling unit zoning that's coming in February. That's going to be an interesting one for the city. Municipal aggregation, the rates change at the end of November, so Councilor Nave and I have some work to do. And then the new building code has been adopted a year and a half ago, and we're going to start looking at whether we want to adopt that. That will enhance some of our climate resiliency in the buildings. So with that, we will move on to agenda item number 2.
Minutes of the City Council meeting, December 16th, 2024.
Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to accept and place on file the minutes.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file the minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The minutes are filed 10-0. Agenda item number 3.
Now is the time for the public hearing of the petition of Massachusetts Electric and Verizon New England to install one joint-owned pole on Farm Road, beginning at a point approximately 50 feet southwest of the center line of the intersection of El Dorado Drive, and install new pole 85-5. Order number 24-109-331. In addition, we have a communication from City Engineer Thomas DePercio with regarding recommended conditions for the petition of Massachusetts Electric and Verizon New England for Farm Road.
A reminder of the public hearing, we take it up in 4 stages. First, with the public speaking in favor. Second, questions from the public. Third, public speaking in opposition. And finally, questions from the City Council. So we'll open the first.
Mr. President,
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Doucette.
no problem. I'd like to make note that I'm recused from this one.
We'll let the record reflect that Councilor Doucette will not be participating in this public hearing. So with that, we'll open the first part of the public hearing with the public speaking in favor, starting with the applicant. Please come up and state your name and address, please.
Hello, Michael Frazier, National Grid, 245 South Main Street, Hopedale.
Thanks, Mike. Can you just give us an overview of the project for us?
Yeah, proposing to install a new pole 85-5 to the southwest of existing pole 86 to eliminate an existing wire going over a house.
Okay. Any other questions or anyone else speaking in favor of the proposal? Anybody else in the public speaking in favor? Anyone else in the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I'll close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Councilor Orem.
Thank you, Mr. President. We received a communication on December 31st from our city engineer, and I think it notes a very important part of the conditions to be set We always receive standard conditions. I think you're familiar with those, Michael. But this condition really, I would ask that it be part of our vote as city councilors, and it's about double poles. We don't care for double poles, I'll be very honest with you. And this is asking that the double pole at number 56 near House 499 and number 59 near House 535 on Farm Road be removed. I will be asking that this be an additional condition to the standard conditions that are being added, and we really need to get rid of these double poles, and this is an effective way to do it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Any other comments or questions from the city councilors? Councilor Facillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick question for the applicant. I do happen to agree with Councilor Oram, and I will be moving in a moment to approve with the conditions after we finish the public hearing. But is the new pole coming at the request of a resident, or is this coming directly from National Grid? Is this something you folks are doing?
That I'm sure of. It's more of a safety concern. Who addressed it first, I'm not sure.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike. Any other questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Any questions from the councilors? Seeing none, I close that portion of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. Councilor Facillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve the petition of Massachusetts Electric and Verizon New England to install the joint-owned pole pursuant to the 2 conditions outlined by the city engineer.
And plus the standard conditions.
Plus the standard conditions and the double poles, correct?
Motion made and seconded to approve the Mass Electric petition with the conditions identified by the city engineer. Any comments or questions on the motion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? The petition is approved with the conditions outlined by the city engineer. The vote is 9-0 with 1 abstain. Thanks, Mike. Agenda item number 4.
Now is the time for the rescheduled public hearing on the proposed zoning map amendment from Justin Millette, trustee on behalf of 1 Maple Terrace, to include 1 Maple Terrace, identified as map 70, parcel 274, in the Marlborough Village District, order number 24-100, 9305A.
Again, this public hearing we've taken up in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public, public speaking in opposition, and then questions from the city council. We'll start with the applicant, with the public speaking in favor, and then I will remind folks for this particular one, we're going to limit speeches to comments to 3 minutes. So be ready. Name and address for the record, please.
Justin Millette, 86 Hutchinson Drive. Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Justin Millette. I'm the owner of 1 Maple Terrace here in our city of Marlborough. I live at 86 Hutchinson Drive with my wife Ariel and our two young sons, Leo and Mac, who are 4 and 3 years old. My wife and her family have lived and operated a small business in Marlborough for 30 years. I bought 1 Maple Terrace 11 years ago, actually when I met my wife. Maple Terrace is located to the southwest here of City Hall, just under 1,000 feet from this building, between Maple Street and Cotting Ave, adjacent to the Kane Storage Building. I'm here, yeah, you can go to the next slide, yeah. I'm here today to request a zoning map amendment to include 1 Maple Terrace in the Marlborough Village. Marlborough Village was established in 2014, and this slide highlights the vision of Marlborough Village. The purpose of Marlborough Village is, I'm sure you guys are all aware, is the district is to implement smart growth principles and development that is compatible with the character of downtown Marlborough. The Marlborough Village District is envisioned as the hub of community gathering places that reflects and celebrates the existing historic character and enhances the traditional village atmosphere. The vision is to build value and to support our employers with a downtown that attracts visitors and helps to retain and recruit employees while creating new housing opportunities. The existing 3-family house, next slide please. Yeah. The existing 3-family house at 1 Maple Terrace, known as the William O'Connell House, circa 1895, has been preserved over the years, and I look to continue that and have it remain a historical asset to the downtown area. Why allow the rezoning? The rezoning One Maple Terrace into Marlborough Village will allow my family to subdivide the lot and build 3 Maple Terrace just to the right of the existing house. Both properties will then conform to the bylaws set in the Marlborough Village requirements. This project will enhance the neighborhood and contribute to the vision of Marlborough Village. As you all know, Massachusetts is in a housing crisis. The state is losing tens of thousands of working age adults every year due to the housing crisis, simply because they cannot find suitable housing. There's a need for all types of housing units: market rate, low income, affordable housing, housing for seniors, housing for people experiencing homelessness. The shortfalls are all across the board, which was stated by the Secretary of Housing, Ed Augustus, just recently. Massachusetts Affordable Homes Act, which was signed by Governor Healy in August 2024, has a goal of building 65,000 housing units over 5 years with $5.1 billion in funding. There's an urgency to build now. Governor Healy's office says that they're doing everything they can to create new housing. Years ago, the housing crisis was in big cities. Today, it has affected every city and town in the Commonwealth. Next slide, please. So this slide shows One Maple Terrace highlighted in yellow, the yellow box there, 770-274 parcel number. One Maple Terrace is the only property on Maple Terrace. The majority of the street is the backside of Kane's Storage Building, which is in Marlborough Village. All of the green on the map is Marlborough Village. As you can see from the map, One Maple Terrace is one of, if not the only underutilized properties in the area, with the large open area to the right side of it. The neighborhood is comprised of business and multifamily homes. The Kane Storage Building is actually industrial. The neighborhood, to the south is 55 Maple Street, Kane Storage. To the east is 43 Ames Place. That would be just to the left, which is a 5-unit building. To the west is 45 Maple Street, zoned as business, which would be just to the right. That has a pet groomer and 2 housing units above that. And to the north is 40 Ames Place, which is a 3-unit building just above it. All of those, the houses there in the RC, which I'm currently included in, are all multifamily houses. The next slide, please. So this here, I did myself. I simply drew a line down the middle of the lot to subdivide it. And you can see is that a new 3-family house, which I'd like to build, fits seamlessly into the layout of the lot and as well as the neighborhood. I plan to have a combination of service and underground parking under the house as construction permits, and with a minimum of 1 space per bedroom. Currently, the parking is the gray area you see here. This is from the GIS map, so that's the actual current driveway. So it goes in the front of what I'm proposing the new house would be, and then down along the lot line. Next slide, please. So here's a picture on the left of the existing house, and with the open lot to the right of it. You can see there's some gravel. I put down crushed stone where the driveway is. That's the current parking area. What I plan to do is have parking to each side of the new houses. So to the left, basically where that gray car is, angled parking. I'm gonna have to possibly excavate the slope and the hill off of the left side of the house, and possibly build a small retaining wall, just to make more space on that side. But and then have parking to the right, angled parking to the right side, which would be to the left of the new three-family building. I actually would like to build what you call a triple decker, which is that you see a lot in Boston. And that was kind of a rendering that I pulled up. Next slide, please. So the positive impact to the community would be the 3 additional housing units in the heart of downtown Marlborough, in Marlborough Village. Steps to the city hall, restaurants, and numerous small businesses, as well as employment. This would provide housing to people who work in the city, DPW workers, nurses, teachers, etc. People who work here and want to live here but cannot because there's not nearly enough housing units. Additional tax revenue to aid the city's resources, and a positive aesthetic impact to the neighborhood. And possibly, if the city would allow me to, add a sidewalk from 1 Maple Terrace to Maple Street in order to connect to the sidewalk there. Currently, there's no sidewalk on Maple Terrace, and a lot of the times when I'm there, if I'm cleaning up the yard, there's always kids and people walking down the middle of the street. That's, next slide, please. So that's pretty much the conclusion of my slideshow. I would just want to thank you all for your time.
Thanks, Justin. Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Right up to the microphone right over there.
Hi, my name is Lauren. I live on Grace Circle. I am in favor of Mr. Milet building his 3-story apartment building. I do think it will add to the community, especially in that area where you guys are doing a lot of work and making it look better than it has. So I just think it'd be a great addition.
Lauren, I didn't catch your last name, Lauren? I'm sorry?
Orsini?
Orsini, thank you. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Any other members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the public?
Hi, everybody. My name is David Earhart. I live at 27 Jefferson Street in Marlborough. I have 7 questions. The question 1, were the drawings made available to the public prior to tonight's hearing?
You mean this PowerPoint prepresentation?
Yes, the specific, the
No,
plan
but-
for the use of the property.
So I'm sorry, so I want to understand the question again, Dave? Speak into that microphone.
Were the drawings made available to the public prior to tonight's hearing?
Not that I'm aware of, no, sir.
Is that a requirement that the public has the opportunity? We haven't had a chance to review the drawings prior to tonight, so we're coming in cold, and this is our only opportunity to ask questions, so we haven't had a chance to review the drawings and see what questions we might have. We've had, minutes to come up with potential questions. And so I just wanted to ask, is that per the standard procedure for a rezoning hearing like this?
So zoning is usually typically just the reasons for the zoning change. The applicant can put whatever drawing he wants up there. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to get built. I mean, it's a zoning change. This isn't a design to approve what's going to actually ultimately be built on the facility.
Why are we reviewing why are we looking at these drawings?
The applicant can pitch whatever he'd like, Mr. Earhart.
Okay. do we believe these drawings to be realistic, that the triple-decker presented can be fit on the property and with the parking and as described, or is it just a guess at this point?
Again, I'll answer that by saying it's an artist rendering. I mean, we're voting on a zoning change, or tonight's the public hearing on a zoning change to see what could or potentially be built on that site. If they want to present whatever pictures they want, they're allowed to do that.
So would there be the opportunity for the council to put conditions on the rezoning? No. I guess I'm answering my own question. The rezoning wouldn't come with conditions that that's the project that needs to be built on. It could be, because the rezoning, you could build a 6-story hotel on the property after it's rezoned. So
You are correct, Dave. There are no conditions on the zoning. A zoning is for the property, and today it's owned by Mr. Millet, tomorrow it could be owned by you. So, so we don't know that, and that's one of the things the council looks at is what is the ultimate intent, and not just for the current owner, as nice a guy as Justin is or whoever else may be, you get some shady developer in there, don't know any of those guys, but they, something could potentially go up there, but they would be held to the zoning that would be approved by the city council.
okay, I don't mean to sound argumentative in my questions.
No, you're not. You're good.
I'm trying to understand the process. Thank you.
You're welcome, David. Thank you. Any other questions from the public? Any other questions from the public? Any other questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Stas, come on up.
Hello, my name is Stas Bourdain. I'm at 27 Jefferson Street, at the building that I built. So I'm a developer here, as many of you know, and I'm speaking against this because it's a spot zoning in my opinion, and it also it opens up a huge can of worms. As we all know what the Marlborough Village Zone allows. Technically speaking, Marlborough Village Zone would allow a building there with 6 stories high with 10 units per floor, so that could be 60 units with 0 parking. If you read the zoning, because this building is located within 1,000 feet of the garage. So somebody can pay $25,000 per parking requirement and build, nobody would do it because it's expensive, but it's possible under the current zoning. And it's dangerous to do it because for the reasons that Mike Osing just mentioned, that the property owner can change and we don't have control over what goes after. So this is just a bump on the road for somebody coming in and shoving something huge out our throat, basically, that lot. And so that's why I'm against it. And I'm also against it because it would set a precedent, because we have a very similar problem happening at Jefferson Street, across the street from my building. And that's the reason I'm here, actually, because I don't think we can apply these huge density zones into neighborhoods, spot zoning for requests of the property owners, because it's just a dangerous thing to do. So I'm just speaking against it. I hope I fit into my 3 minutes. And
you got 2 more minutes. Keep going.
2 more minutes. Wow. Okay. Cool. So one more thing I want to say is that I went and spoke to some folks at the neighborhood, and people don't really understand the zoning. I do, because that's what I do, and people don't really understand what it means to change the zoning until they see a rendering of something that goes there. And the zoning, the Marlborough Village Zone allows 80% lot coverage, and current zone, which is RC, allows only 30% lot coverage. And this lot actually currently can sustain 5 units. So the RC zone, if you calculate it, 10,000 square feet for first 3 units plus 2,000 square feet for each additional unit. With a special permit, you can do 5 units right there. So he can already do 2 out of the 3 that he wants. And if he waits until February and gets through Massachusetts ADU, then he can do 1 more. So that's 6 units right there. So in a way, he can achieve this by just going with a special permit and being careful about the design of the buildings to fit within the lot coverage. And that would be a somewhat simple thing. It's not so simple, but it would not increase the density to the density which was meant to be in the downtown. So so I speak strongly in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you, Stas. Any other members of the public speaking in opposition? Come on up, Dave.
Hi, Dave Earhart, 27 Jefferson Street again. So, I just wanted to mention, I think the proposed triple-decker seems like a nice development for that property, but we're not here to talk about that at all. The applicant seems like a good guy. That doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about tonight. I would fully support building a triple-decker on that piece of property. What I am adamant against, opposed to, is the idea of spot zoning or blank check zoning, where it wasn't a mistake that the zoning map that was presented is a little misleading, because everything to the side of that is the zone that particular property is part of. It's not like there's one piece of property, it's an island within the Marlborough Village. This is where Marlborough Village butts up to the rest of Marlborough. Marlborough Village, the city of Marlborough has a beautiful plan in place for Marlborough Village. And this development is nice. I don't think it's realistic, but it's nice as a triple-decker. Marlborough Village isn't intended for triple-deckers. It's intended to have a cohesive downtown with the context of buildings working with each other, buildings that are close to each other that create a downtown, buildings that are similar in heights, not one-offs. And so I think the problem is this zoning, Marlborough Village, which has page after page after page of design guidelines, which I think Marlborough did a great job in developing and adopting, and is just all that is being ignored to build a triple-decker in a spot that it would be a great spot for a triple-decker. But if that's not a great spot for a 6-story structure or some other unintended consequence as a result of rezoning. And so what I'm worried about is, what if something happens financially to the applicant? He has to sell the property, developer takes it over, he's then allowed to build something radically different than what was presented tonight. I know there is a different way to get to the end result, which is a development that makes sense for that property, which is a triple-decker. And I don't think that the rezoning is that rezoning to Marlborough Village is not that process. I'll just wrap up by saying I think it sets a bad precedent for the town. I went back and looked at how often the zoning map changes. This city, and I say town, I mean city, I'm sorry, I mean city. This city has done a good job and that's how zoning is effective, where you have a zoning map and you use that map to guide the development. And I think Marlborough has done a nice job of that. There's not been a lot of one-off blank check rezoning. If you go back and look at the history of the rezoning that's been approved, it's not very often, and it's specific to a benefit for the entire city, not for one property owner.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public speaking in opposition?
Hi, Elliot D. Bruin, 27 Jefferson Street. I'm a first-time homeowner, moved to the city of Marlborough in 2024. I live in a 3-story condo building that is zoned as RB. So the current lot is zoned as RC, which is actually less restrictive than that. So I guess my angle is, if there could be a row of townhouses or a small condo building built today, why not fit something with the current zoning? If zoned as MV, the building would have, at 1 Maple Terrace, would have to be at least 3 stories high and up to as tall as 7 stories tall with a special permit. So the current residential zoning of the current land and the surrounding land is lot coverage of 30% or less. So with MV, it would go up to 80% lot coverage and could go right to the curb. Finally, if changed to MV, because, as was stated earlier, within 1,000 feet, technically just under 1,000 feet from a parking garage, there would be a city requirement of 0 parking spaces. So you see, with the John Bell development, how they tried to do the 99 units with no parking, and the Main Street development, how they're trying to do that big thing with 0 parking. As the artist rendering suggests, there would not have to be any parking. I believe that MV is designed for downtown and should be used downtown. Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot, and welcome to Marlborough. Any other members of the public speaking in opposition? Any other members of the public speaking in opposition? Any other members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Councilor Orem.
Mr. President, I did look around first. I don't want to always be the first to jump up. I was hoping maybe the ward council wanted to ask questions, but our speakers tonight did a good job in reviewing the zoning laws. And one thing that we have to be careful of as councilors is spot zoning. It's very dangerous, sets a precedent, and could be very concerning to the neighbors around that area that was spot zoned. So I can't be in favor of something that's spot zoned. Maybe we need to go back to the books, I don't know when, to look at the Marlborough Main Street District Village and see if, it needs to be changed. But to do it for one individual lot is very difficult. And as noted, you're a good applicant, but we don't know what the future would be. And we're talking about zoning. We're not talking about what you presented, although thank you. Gives us an idea of your ideas. But that's the issue here. So I'm very concerned about spot zoning. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Orem. Councilor Preciado.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilor Orem. Yes, thank you for the people that showed up today. I do agree with a lot of them regarding setting a precedent for spot zoning. I think it's unfortunate for the applicant that his spot is in that little nook. I know he had questions about why, the line was drawn there. I think the reason that we have to kind of draw lines for zoning somewhere, and unfortunately it's right across the street from your house. But I think, as one of the residents did mention, that you could add more units going through special permits, so that is still an avenue that you can take. But as it is, I will not be able to support this zoning change. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Preciado. Any other questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Millet, I know I also attended the planning board, and they had a couple of questions. I just have a couple of things that I would like to bring up. First of all, if the city council looks at the zoning map and looks to the west of Granger to Newton Street, you will see the same issue where one side of Newton is Marlborough Village, the other side is, I believe, not. I can't see it without my glasses. On the presentation that you gave, if you will bear with me to go back to the current neighborhood page that shows the zoning map. The zoning map.
It's coming, it's just slow.
I know it takes a while to go backwards. The zoning map does not show arrows for direction on this, but it is pretty much north, south, east, and west, like the world is. So you have in your description that south of 555 Maple Street is zoned B. It is actually zoned Marlborough Village, which is why it's green on the map. You have to the east is 43 Ames Place. That is 7252. That's actually the west. And to the west, you have 45 Maple Street. That's east. So I'm just pointing those out
Yeah.
so that everybody is sure that
Sorry
they're
about
looking
that.
at the right properties when they're looking at this. And also, if you look at the Marlborough Village zoning, it does state parking to maintain a pedestrian-friendly environment, motor vehicle parking spaces shall be located behind or beside buildings whenever possible. Parking located directly between the buildings and the street alignment shall be discouraged. So if this was approved for rezoning and you came to us for a special permit, we would probably not want to have that parking, the parallel parking that you briefly described. So just keep that in mind. And this is in Urban Affairs. I believe at the Planning Board meeting, they indicated that they would be making their decision at their next meeting, which is the 27th. So as soon as we get the Planning Board's recommendation, then I can set up a Urban Affairs Committee meeting, assuming I am continuing as Urban Affairs Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. Any other questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Any questions from the councilors? Councilor Preciado.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have one more question. Will you be living at the residence or no? You
No.
live at the residence? Okay. All right, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Preciado. Any other questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Any further questions from the councilors? Hearing none, I close that portion of the public hearing, and the entire public hearing, and this item is in Urban Affairs. Justin, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $125,000 from free cash to IT equipment for the emergency replacement of the HVA system for the IT server room.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've communicated with Director Gibbs on the urgency of the replacement of the HVAC system. If there's no objection this evening, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Motion to approve the transfer in the amount of $125,000 from free cash to the IT department, please.
Motion made and seconded to approve the $125,000 transfer from free cash to upgrade the HVAC system in the IT department. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had a chance to go look at the area of concern, and I would suggest as the chairman, well, future, hopefully, chairperson of finance, that we approve this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Councilor Vital.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I read the letter that was sent, it talked about a part that needed to come back in 6 weeks, and it had the two smaller units that are keeping the server cool right now is fine now, but as soon as the weather gets hot, then it would be more difficult. My question is why not just wait until get the part and just fix the existing unit?
Request a suspension of the rules to allow Mr. Gibbs to address the council. All those in favor of the suspension? Opposed? Suspension carries 10-0. Mr. Gibbs.
Can I speak from here?
You can speak from wherever you'd like. How's that?
Hello? Okay, it is. So, to answer your question, the air conditioner in the server room has been there for 15 years. We have it PM'd, maintenanced every year. Actually, every 6 months they come out and service it. And throughout the 15 years, parts have died, things have been replaced, so on and so forth. But at this point in time, the unit is 15 years old. When the compressor died at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got the call to come in to check it out. So obviously, luckily it was cool. We were able to open the windows and put a small portable air conditioner. The following day, Dan Jackson came out and put a second portable air conditioner in to cool the room while the service techs came out. They told me that the compressor was gone, and they had their fingers crossed saying, I hope we can find one. This unit is 15 years old. So the reason why they found a compressor, it is going to be here. Actually, I got an email today that it's going to be installed on the 15th of this month. But that's not the major case. The major case is the unit is older now, and if another incident happens and we're in the middle of the summertime, I'm not going to be able to cool that room enough to handle all the service and stuff. So I need to work to get this thing replaced in time before, I like to get that done before the summertime. So that answers your question.
It did, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Good, Council Vital.
Very good, sir.
Council Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and through you to Mr. Gibbs. So what I understand is effectively you're doing the repair work to get rid of the temporary air conditioners that are now being used to provide temporary heating and get it going. But the concern really is it's even after this repair, it's still 15 years old.
Correct.
Okay. And the intent is to phase out a replacement in a place that's more planned and much more something gets scheduled, planned as far as doing that type of replacement. Then at the same time replacing the AC units, you're replacing the battery power backups.
Right, with lithium ion, by the way.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I figured you'd like that.
Fuel cells. Anyway, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Council Doucette. Any other comments or questions for Mr. Gibbs? Hearing none, on the motion to approve the transfer, all those in favor? Opposed? Transfer carries 10-0. Thank you, Mr. Gibbs.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6.
Communication from the mayor regarding wireless communication lease authorizations for the Fairmont Hill Water Tank and the Sligo Hill Historical Water Tank.
Council Ficillo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve the wireless lease authorizations.
Motion made and second to approve the leases. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The leases are approved, 10-0. Agenda item number 7.
Communication from Councilors Ossing and Navin regarding municipal aggregation, December 2024 update.
Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hard to believe another quarter has gone by, and yet here we are. This quarter, Marlborough residential electricity users participating in our Muni Ag program have saved over $551,000. This accounts for the third quarter of 2024. Our city's contract with First Point Power, which began in February of this year, will run through November of 2025. Which started in February of last year, because it is now 2025. The rate, which is 14 cents a kilowatt hour, is lower than the National Grid basic summer service rate of 16 cents per kilowatt hour, which will be in effect from August 24 through this month. Importantly, this contract provides 100% renewable wind energy, and it is cheaper than even most of National Grid's green options. It's projected that this contract will save our residential electricity users that participate in the program about $2.6 million in calendar year 2024, and the Muni Ag program has saved users over $36.9 million since the inception in 2007. So this program continues to save Marlborough residents more money on their electric bills. And as you noted earlier, Mr. President, we have some work to do coming up the end of this month as we prepare for the new rates coming up and the talk of a new contract at some point in the future. So with that, motion to accept and place on file.
Motion's made and second to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? The communication is filed 10-0. Agenda item number 8.
Minutes of boards, commissions, and committees.
Councilor Doucette.
Mr. President, thank you very much. With a change to item E of the minutes, boards, commissions, and committees, I'd like to have approved for the following. There's going to be an update because on page 3 and page 4, Mr. Walsh's name suddenly changes to Mr. Hager because he lives on Hager Street. So everyone knows it's an issue that's going to get addressed. Thank you, sir.
Motion's made and second to accept and place on file all the communications, and the Traffic Commission will take care of correcting their minutes. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? All the minutes are filed 10-0. Claims. Councilor Brown. Oh.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to send claims to legal department.
Motion made and second to send the claims to the legal department. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Claims are going to legal 10-0. Reports of committees. Any reports of committees? Hearing none, agenda item number 10.
Ordered that the mayor shall submit to the city council an annual report from the Commissioner of Public Works regarding the state of the city's public cemeteries. Specifically, the report will provide a general update on city-owned cemeteries detailing current conditions, current and future needs, staffing plan, and outline regular maintenance and repair priorities for the upcoming fiscal year. The report shall provide a specific update on the state of good repair for all veterans' gravestones in city-owned cemeteries, including the number of graves in need of repair, work completed in the prior fiscal year, work to be completed in the upcoming fiscal year, and the plan for how the Department of Public Works will accomplish this work. The report will provide critical financial information related to all of this work, including but not limited to a review of cemetery finances, amount of money spent in the previous fiscal year, projected expenditures for work to be completed in the upcoming fiscal year, balance of the Perpetual Care Trust Fund, and plans to use funds generated by the interest in the Perpetual Care Trust Fund in the upcoming fiscal year. The report shall be submitted annually to the City Council by April 1st of each year, submitted by Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Clerk, for reading what probably could have been summed up a little quicker when I submitted this. Serving as the chair of the City Council's Veterans Services Committee, I have the opportunity to attend the monthly meeting of the Marlborough Veterans Council, as do other members of the committee. It's a great chance to provide updates to the veterans in our community about the things that are happening at City Hall and to field questions and concerns and comments about the issues that are happening across our city. One of the most frequent concerns I hear about is the state of our city cemeteries, particularly the number of veterans' gravestones that are in need of maintenance and repair. Our cemeteries are filled with the brave men and women from the city of Marlborough that have given their lives for our country in every armed conflict throughout our country's history, and it's important we continue to honor that sacrifice by maintaining their final resting place in a manner that befits that sacrifice. To be clear, the Department of Public Works for our community, the Forestry, Parks, and Cemeteries Division in particular, do a phenomenal job maintaining and beautifying our community with the limited resources that we have in municipal government. They go to work every day and make our city shine, and much of this work is done under the radar or without much fanfare. This is not a critique of the work that they do every day in any way. The goal of this order is to provide an annual report outlining the state of Marlborough city-owned cemeteries, and it would identify and catalog the critical needs in all of our city-owned cemeteries. Show the work that has been completed each and every year and the work that still needs to be done. Importantly, it would also provide a detailed list of veterans' gravestones that need to be repaired, graves that have been repaired during the prior year, and graves that will be repaired in the coming year. Finally, it would include a plan to accomplish this work and lay out the funding needs to accomplish this goal. My hope is that this report will serve as an annual reminder of the importance of focusing on this work and finding necessary resources to accomplish it, not only for our veterans, but for all the people who have chosen Marlborough as their final resting place. And hopefully this goal, as I said, there's a lot of work that's being done in our city each and every day. Hopefully this report will help us to be able to focus on it, help us deliver the resources to DPW, and work with the administration to be able to make sure that this work is focused on and move forward. It's my hope that we'll have I'll make a motion to refer this to the Veterans Committee. I've already talked to the DPW Commissioner. I would like him and our Veteran Service Agent to come in to discuss this work, discuss a little bit of the history so people can understand where the responsibilities lie, how this work can be accomplished, and how we can all move together to accomplish this goal. I also want to thank the Marlborough Veterans Council for the work they've done to advocate for this, because it really it has put a little bit of a focus on there. So with that, I make a motion to refer to the Veterans Committee.
Well done, Councilor Navin. Motion made and second, refer to the Veterans Committee. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Vital.
I also, thank you, Councilor Nate. I'd also like to recognize Maddie Sargent, who has put together yeoman's efforts and being able to document all the veterans' gravestones that are in need of repair. Maddie goes above and beyond the call of duty just because he just cares about Marlborough and its veterans. So I'd like to recognize all the work that Marty Sargent's done.
Thanks, Councilor Vital. Any discussion or comments on the motion? Seeing none, on the motion, refer this item to the Veterans Committee. All those in favor? Opposed? It's going to the Veterans Committee, 10-0. Councilor Nabin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adjourn.
Motion's made and second to adjourn. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:53. Have a good evening, everyone.